A man stands at the edge of a throne room. He has no crown, no army, yet every king in Europe fears him. His weapon? Not steel, not gold, but something far more dangerous. The ability to see human nature as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli, and he understood something most people refuse to accept. Power doesn't belong to the good, it belongs to those who understand the game. Florence, 1513. A disgraced diplomat sits in exile, tortured, broken, stripped of everything. Most men would have surrendered to bitterness. Machiavelli did something different. He wrote a manual, a blueprint, not for how power should work, but for how it actually works. The Prince wasn't a book, it was a mirror, and what it reflected terrified the world. Because Machiavelli removed the mask, he showed that behind every smile in power lies calculation, behind every handshake lies strategy, behind every promise lies leverage. He didn't invent cold manipulation, he simply had the courage to name it. Here's what he understood that most people don't. Human beings are not rational. We are emotional creatures wearing rational masks. We tell ourselves we make decisions based on logic, but we don't. We make decisions based on fear, on desire, on ego. And those who hold power, they know this. They always known this. Machiavelli wrote that it's better to be feared than loved, not because fear is noble, but because fear is reliable. Love is fickle. Love depends on the other person's mood, their circumstances, their fleeting emotions. But fear? Fear is constant. Fear is controllable. Fear ensures compliance even when you're not in the room. This is the psychology of cold calculation. Understanding that sentiment is a luxury and power has no room for luxuries. Think about the leaders you see today, the ones who survive, the ones who endure. Do they survive because they're kind or because they understand leverage? Here at Symbolism Decoded, we've traced this pattern through centuries, from Renaissance courts to modern boardrooms. The principles haven't changed, only the costumes. Machiavelli taught that perception is reality. It doesn't matter what you are, it matters what people believe you are. A weak king who appears strong survives. A strong king who appears weak falls. This is why image management isn't vanity, it's survival. Every dictator, every CEO, every politician, they all understand this fundamental law. Control the narrative and you control reality itself. But here's the darker layer, the one most analyses miss. Machiavelli wasn't teaching cruelty for its own sake. He was teaching calculated violence. He wrote that if you must harm someone, do it swiftly, completely, so they cannot retaliate. But if you grant favors, do it slowly, over time, so people remember their dependence on you. This is the mathematics of power. Pain delivered all at once creates enemies. Pain delivered gradually creates acceptance. Pleasure delivered all at once creates entitlement. Pleasure delivered gradually creates loyalty. So ask yourself this: how many systems around you operate on these exact principles? How many relationships in your life follow Machiavellian logic without you even realizing it? The cold truth is this: we live in a Machiavellian world, whether we acknowledge it or not. Every negotiation, every corporate restructuring, every political campaign, they're all following a playbook written 500 years ago. But here's what Machiavelli understood that separates him from common manipulators. True power isn't about being cruel, it's about being effective. A Machiavellian leader doesn't create enemies for sport. They eliminate threats efficiently. They build alliances strategically. They maintain order through calculated demonstrations of strength. It's not personal, it's systemic. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Because when power becomes a science, morality becomes optional. Machiavelli wrote for princes, but his lessons apply to anyone who wants to understand how influence really works. In your workplace, in your social circles, in your own family dynamics, the person who pretends the game isn't happening, they're the first to lose. The person who plays the game consciously, they control their own destiny. This doesn't mean you have to become ruthless, but it does mean you need to recognize ruthlessness when you see it. Because power never announces itself honestly. It always wears a mask. Democracy, meritocracy, justice, freedom. Beautiful words, noble concepts, and behind every single one, someone calculating leverage. Machiavelli died in 1527, bitter, forgotten, never reinstated to power. But his words outlived every prince he advised, every king he warned, every republic he served, because he understood something eternal. Human nature doesn't evolve, it only repeats. And those who understand this pattern, they're the ones writing history, not reading it. The world is not controlled by the loudest voices, it's controlled by the coldest calculations. The question is, will you keep pretending otherwise, or will you finally see the game for what it is? If you want to keep decoding the patterns they don't want you to see, subscribe to Symbolism Decoded. Because understanding power isn't about becoming a tyrant, it's about never being a victim. Stay awake.